Head on over to Anime Express for exclusive anime merch and use code Daffy10 at checkout for 10% off your next purchase. Thank you to Anime Express for sponsoring this video. Yo! Yes, everybody, we are back with some more Kagurabachi content, ladies and gentlemen. And I ain't gonna lie to y'all, folks. It's not looking good. It's not looking good. Yeah, after the events of this chapter, our heroes are going to be in some very dire straits. So a lot of consequences come from this chapter, man. I don't think anybody was expecting the twist that this chapter had, but we will see. We're about to dive into this real quick. By the way, I didn't know that a lot of the Kagurabachi fandom knew who I was. I posted some pictures of myself with the new Kagurabachi volume that just released in America, and also, you know, flexing that I had the original Japanese one as well when that launched. And I posted it on, you know, Twitter, the community tab. I posted it on Reddit as well, and people from the Reddit recognized me. They are like, oh shit, it's the real OG Daffy. I'm like, how do you know who I am? It's just like, I don't know, it's so weird seeing people recognize me on places that aren't YouTube. It's just so foreign to me. The first time I ever see somebody that like recognizes me in real life, I might just punch them in the throat and run away.
Hey, yo, my life's like a movie, my eyes are like a Uzi, jacuzzi. Get the fuck out of the way!
Nah, I'm just kidding. So from what we know of Kunishige's death, we know from Chihiro there were 3 sorcerers that showed up at his dad's death, or that killed his father allegedly. There was a woman, there is a samurai, and there was also Hishaku, or Joseph Hishaku. Now note, this took place 3 years ago, so Chihiro was 15, and the Seitei War took place 18 years ago. So Chihiro was born around the time the Seitei War ended. I want you all to keep this in mind for me. So when we last left off, Samura actually got Tobimune back into his possession and cleared out most of the temple. And the heroes were bouncing back, like I said in the title. Things were actually looking up. Hakuri decided to lock in. He actually managed to grab Samura. He did not grab Uraha's hand. He grabbed Samura's, because obviously Samura seemed to be the most capable person there. He's their secret weapon. So it makes sense as to why Hakuri grabbed him. And so when we come to this chapter, we see that Hirohiko looks up and he sees that one of the Enchanted Blades is actually teleporting out of his hand, which is Tobimune. He has the other one above Chihiro as well. So when we come back to the battle, Samura asks, you know, where did that tree bastard go? And we actually have Hishaku about to get some very dangerous agenda allegations towards him. He actually dips. Hishaku says, a master's wielding of an enchanted blade. It was so fast I couldn't even see it. This will rile up the playing field. Man, I wonder if I'm in trouble. I mean, he said, oh shit, Samura done got Tobimune back? I'm gonna take my ass back to Yura. I'm finished. Hakuri is still battling the effects of using the storehouse once more, obviously, because we know he wasn't healed completely yet. But he does say to Uraha, I'll transport the Kumayuri as well. I feel like I've got one more in me. Hakuri, if he's consistently like being like the GOAT of comebacks, I'm 100% down with that. I absolutely love this character. Like, he's weak, but he provides so much utility and he shows so much inner strength. I absolutely love Hakuri. So everyone's kind of taking inventory, seeing what the damage is, and we see that one of the monks actually got impaled and unfortunately he died. And this is his first assignment as a guard. Uraha asks, does he have a family? And then the woman says he has a sister who's 8 years younger. There's no cost to live here, so he sent her his earnings. So obviously we could tell that this was kind of a, you know, he seemed to be a good guy. And we see that this bothers Samura. It actually shakes him. And the woman says he didn't die in vain. And then she says he fought valiantly to protect the contracted sword bearers. This is a major turning point. And Samura says, unfortunately, this is just the start. So the scene ends there, and so for the rest of this chapter, we don't see anybody else. We don't see anything else that happens at the temple, which is, it's not good. So we have Hirohiko taking in the situation which he's in, and he says they got Tobimune, and he says that it doesn't really change anything. He says that we'll kill the sword master, and then Yuta will wield the shinuchi, which, as we know, is the most dangerous of all the sacred blades. And the shinuchi wielder is locked up. The way that they portrayed him at the end of the Rakuzaichi arc, he didn't have like guards and everything like that, like, you know, Samura or Uraha. He was by himself. It looked like he was in solitary confinement.
Lock him up! Put him in fucking prison! Solitary confinement!
And we see that as soon as Kiora put his hand on his shinuchi, it's like almost like he got possessed by this guy. Now, there is some stock in the fact that this dude kind of does look like Sojo, and we never got an exact explanation of what that flashback that Sojo had when he was a kid, and we saw those dead bodies and the flowers, which look very similar to Shinuchi's. I'm just saying, if Sojo's related to this guy, I would not be surprised in the slightest. So as Chihiro is kind of stating that, okay, like we're starting to kind of get ahead in this fight, Hirohiko asks if Chihiro's ever heard of school, and obviously, you know, Chihiro was homeschooled, but he says that in public schools, they teach that Kunishige and the sword bearers are all heroes. The sword master led the other 5 sword bearers in protecting the people with the great power of the Enchanted Blades, and their wonderful achievements led peace to this country. But we know that both Samura as well as Kunishige, every time they bring this up, they're like, no. And they don't ever consider themselves heroes. And we know that in one of the first chapters, Kunishige is talking to Chihiro and he says, we have a responsibility. We need to have a code. At the end of the day, these swords, they are still weapons to kill people. We need to make sure that we use them accordingly. We need to have morals and ethics. And Chihiro knows that every time that the shinuchi came up, his dad would get uncomfortable. He would start to kind of shift. And Chihiro's theory was that the shinuchi took control of Kiora at the end of the Rokuhiras arc, but he says, what if it was actually the user was maybe using some sort of necromancy? And Hirohiko implies that the swordmaster isn't a hero who should be protected. And as Chihiro is trying to catch up with his brain, he's exhausted. He had been through all these long battles, especially with the day before, with the Rokuhiras arc, and even today with Hirohiko. He doesn't even catch the fact that Hirohiko says that's what Samura thinks. That's why he made a pact with Yura 3 years ago. Chihiro asks, if the shinuchi is released and you guys are able to use it, you'll destroy this country. Hirohiko says, you know what Samura said? The contracted sword bearers should die. Now, it just now registers to Chihiro what Hirohiko says, and we see him begin to tremble, and we see his resolve begin to shake. While he's distracted, he drops Kamiyuri to the Chihiro's right. Hirohiko chomps his own dismembered arm, throws it at Chihiro, has some origami fly through windows Chihiro has to dodge, and he actually uses Kamiyuri. And we see that his origami sorcery falls apart, so that he will never be able to use it again. Meaning that the previous sword bearer died. Uraha just died. And we see 2 geishas forming around Hirohiko, as well as the storehouse bubbles being summoned around Chihiro. The fact that we got the reveal that Samura was the traitor, it's a lot to unpack here, y'all. Go ahead and sit down with Uncle Daffy. We about to break this down. Hold on.
Hold on. Them no love you like I love you. Hold on. Them no love you like I love you.
Now, the first thing I want to talk about is the fact that the storehouse bubbles are forming around Chihiro. We can infer that as soon as Samura finished talking, he most likely killed Uraha right there. The members of the Makizumi, I don't think he killed them. He fought way too hard to protect them, as well as protect other people in the temple. But people are thinking, why? Why would Samura do this? Well, we know that he has a tremendous amount of guilt and a certain religious conviction that drives him every day. That's why he says he blinded himself in the first place. He couldn't stand to see the sight of blood. He couldn't stand to see the life draining out of somebody else. So we don't know what exactly happened in the Seitei War, but we know that Kunishige and him are both ashamed of what happened. War is a terrible, awful thing to happen. We know there are probably a lot of war crimes being broken up and down. I mean, we know that Shiba's a master of interrogation, as we've seen. So yeah, they're probably not doing some morally okay stuff. So for a religious man to sit here and ponder this every single day, even you can't get that stench out of your nose of dead bodies, of blood and all this, it's traumatizing. And so from what we can understand of Samura, his goal is to kill all of the sword bearers so nobody is able to use them. So most likely Samura knows a seal or how to dispose of them permanently, but he's going to kill every single sword bearer. And he doesn't know if Chihiro's a sword bearer yet. As far as we know, I don't think that he is in constant cahoots with the Hishaku. That doesn't make sense to me, considering the fact that they tried to kill him just now. But from what I'm understanding, Samura gave Yuta Kunishige's location, where he was at, probably from his scent off of Chihiro as well, because when Chihiro met Samura for the first time, he was like, oh, you're Kunishige's kid, I smell him on you. And so we know that he was hidden either Samura was one of the people that like he was cool with the Kaminabi and they knew where he was, or he smelled and tracked Chihiro and followed him. That's what I'm assuming, because maybe Shiba didn't teleport him. Maybe he just walked him home regularly. We don't know. So it's entirely possible that when Chihiro was 15, Samura tracked him down and gave Yuta the location of where he was at, and so he had him killed so he could not make these other weapons of mass destruction. It makes sense, and it's not necessarily a villainous thing to do. I mean, we saw with Sojo and even with Kazane, bro, people should not, these things should not exist. Good, bad, these things are awful. There's people online that are kind of confused. They're like, oh, why would Samura even give these blades to people that are even worse off? Why wouldn't he just make sure he gets into the right hands? He thinks they just shouldn't be around, period. I mean, hell, when he sees Chihiro, I'm assuming that when he sees Chihiro, he's gonna be sad. He's like, kid, I am so sorry for what happened, but your dad had to go. And you have to too, which sucks. But I mean, dude, Samura says, I'm going to hell anyway. He thinks he's doing the right thing. It's so frustrating. I'm hoping that Uraha's not dead, because I don't think he would be off screen. Obviously, we're gonna have a flashback and see what exactly happened here. But as far as we know, there is no concrete way to break or transfer somebody else's sorcery from a enchanted blade, because there are eternal, lifelong contracts. Unless the blade is either broken or the user dies. But we know the blade's not broken. Hirohiko is clearly using it here. Poor Chihiro, man. I mean, I don't know how, dude, we might see Chihiro truly broken this next one. Chihiro's smart. He's gonna figure it out. He's gonna be like, you're the one who had my dad killed. He like, Samura's a fucking rat. Like, and I feel bad because I like Samura. I like him a whole lot. But dude, you had this kid's father killed over some religious guilt. Come on, bro. What are we doing?
Man, you stupid bitch.
Now, as far as Samura being able to track down the shinuchi wielder, kill him, as well as kill Yuta, I don't know if he's got all that. I don't know. He's got some sort of plan. So we don't know if there's a large organization behind Samura or what, but wow, this is, whoo, I don't know, man. So I'm hoping we don't get to see what Kumayuri does just yet, because I mean, Chihiro's getting teleported right now. I don't think that Samura would hurt Hakuri either. It doesn't seem within his character from what we know. Hakuri literally has zero to do with anything of this, like quite literally nothing. So Chihiro might be mistaken. He might see all this blood coming from Hakuri and he's gonna, you know, get confused and think that Samura did it. But this is wild, man. Wild stuff. I'm hoping Uraha's not dead, man. He's so cool, and we got to see just a little bit of him. But wow, I know there's that meme of like, oh my god, it was in front of us the whole time. Samura had the lighter. Oh, he killed his dad for 50 bucks in a lighter. Holy shit! Like, I know there's that meme going around, but wow, I'm not gonna hold y'all, man. This chapter was very shocking. Whoo! It's funny, like when I woke up, I took a nap like around like 11 a.m. I read the chapter. I didn't even catch, I was just like Chihiro, I didn't even catch that Hirohiko said that Samura made a pact with Yuta. Now, don't get it twisted. Samura is not like in the Hishaku. He's not doing that. He's probably made like a treaty or a truce momentarily to have an end goal of destroying all the blades and everything like that. But very interesting stuff here, man. We will see what happens next chapter, but I don't know. I'm excited, y'all. I'm excited. Let me know what y'all think down in the comments below. It's me, your boy Daffy, guys. Thank you guys so much for joining me on this video. Please make sure you leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Now, make sure you take care of yourselves, guys, and have a damn good one. Peace.